thewellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives. This is Up for a Chat with Cindy O'Mara, Karen Smith, and Kim Morrison.
Here we are, up for a chat about the hottest topics that are important to you, inspiring you to awaken the change within. I'm Karen Smith.
I'm Kim Morrison.
And I'm Cindy O'Mara.
And welcome, because today's a super special podcast. We've got somebody who's joining us today who is a dear friend of all of ours, and I just want to say she's incredibly spoiled.
She is a bigger tart and brat than us.
Well, let's just say me, because out of the two of you, you're not really spoilt brats. You two? No, quite earthy. Me? Brat. Absolute brat.
Princess.
Did she just admit that?
Mm-hmm,
I did. Because it's true. Okay, it is. But we've got Cathy. That'd be Cathy with a K, Ledger with an L.
No, that'll be Cathy with a C.
Oh, it's Cathy with a C. I just thought that you wrote it with a K.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, my goodness.
She did that to see if you were
Cathy
paying
with
attention.
a C. And I know Cathy with a C is to be C. Anywho, so Cathy, and I want to tell you guys how I know Cathy. Cathy is one of Intimo Lingerie's most extraordinary consultants. And she has an amazing following of people who she supplies Intimo lingerie to. And honestly, she's absolutely incredible in terms of her ability to relate to people and understand what's important to women. And, you know, for us to feel good about ourselves, it was one of the things that really drew me to Cathy. And funny. She's even funnier than me, I think. And I think that there in itself is a tall order.
Did you hear what she just admitted?
I said it. Mm-hmm. It's out there. She could be funnier than me.
Oh.
And I think she's actually a bigger brat than me. She's sporting a 3-carat ring.
3.5.
3.1. Yeah, okay, so she takes the cake. She's funnier, and she's a bigger brat than me, and she knows all about bums and boobs. I give in.
And do you see her nails? And the jewellery?
I have been admiring the jewellery, glittering, dripping in gold.
So maybe she is more of a princess than
Look, I think she might be. I will hand over the crown. I shall.
Oh.
Miss Cathy Ledger, you win.
Thank you, Karen. I do wear crowns very well.
She wears crowns well.
I have broad shoulders and a broad head.
And we love you to bits.
So how did you meet Cathy?
Well, I spoke on stage, didn't I?
You did.
For Intimo. I've spoken for the Intimo conferences quite a number of times.
Mm-hmm. And we love you.
And how long ago was that I met with you? Oh, gosh, was that on the Gold Coast?
Yes. Maybe 4, 5.
Oh, wow.
That was a while ago, wasn't it? And Cathy came up and...
Because then I think we established somewhere through the conversation that the link
was Cindy.
And you said something about Cindy, and then my ears prick up because I've been friends with Cindy for 25 years, and I'm like, that's my friend. How do you know my friend? If you're one of her friends, you can be one of my friends.
And it was almost instant, wasn't it? We were like family straight away.
And I think we forgot that we actually had another 100 people in the room because it was just you and I. Just us. And then I was like, oh, that's right. We're meant to notice the other 99 consultants in the room. Right, we better stop.
Hold the line.
And then I got very excited knowing that you knew Kimmy, my other favourite woman in the world. So tart. But actually, I wouldn't call you a tart. I love
Thank you, Cathy.
Yeah, no, you can call her a tart. We all
We've
do.
had nearly 50 shows on here, and these two call me a tart. Actually,
I wouldn't.
Thank you.
I think you're a very
don't
stylish,
call
you-
stunning.
Skanky $2 cracker.
You are so going to get slapped. I love it.
Wait till you're off.
So how did you meet Kim then?
I met Kim, I think, through you.
Through me, was it?
I think it was a lingerie party, and I think I put one of our really, really comfy everyday bras on her, and then...
She is the funniest person when it comes to putting on a bra.
Come here, Kimmy, give me those boobies. And the men...
I reckon you've seen more breasts on the Sunshine Coast than any plastic surgeon.
Oh, I have referred most of the women on Sunshine Coast to the
plastic surgeon!
I actually was going to go into a couple without saying their names and giving them any further any further business, but I was going to go and say, you know, I really think you owe me a kickback because I
You should have an affiliate program going.
Well, because they'd say one name and I'd say, oh God, no, don't go there. He has a problem with oversized breasts. No, go here. So yeah, definitely I have. You know, I love working with women and helping them with that because I love seeing girls, you know, come from a low self-esteem to, you know...
Perky tits.
Yeah, perky tits, lift that breast. Well, because, you know, being a whole 5 foot zero. I
Yes.
think I'm actually in even denial with that, but let's leave that. If you lift your breasts high, it lengthens the body. So if I can help any of those little shorties out there look taller, it's my passion. Yeah, because your breast should sit halfway between your elbow and your shoulder.
Oh.
So have a look, girls, have a look. And if they're sitting any lower, go and get a fitting.
See, now I've had a fitting. I've got my Intimo bra on.
So
And my
Karen,
Intimo undies, see?
You are so
Oh,
sexy,
you are all
Cindy.
matching.
Yeah, all matching. No, I'm
She
not
is
really
dressed.
showing my...
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
She just lifted up her dress, everybody. So we just saw her bra around. He's got little
They're
flowers
gorgeous,
and
aren't they?
And
They're
matching
just so
briefs, Karen,
pretty.
which
Yeah.
I think is very important because my mother always told me you could get hit by a bus and picked up by an ambulance, and if you do not have matching underpants on, what are you going to do when the ambulance driver is really sexy and you are spewing because you have funny underpants on?
No, that's a lesson in life.
Fair call.
Fair call, lesson in life.
Okay, so I'm going to be placing an order for undies before you go.
I have
Me
a
too.
catalogue in the car.
Oh,
do?
great.
Of course.
Oh, you do?
A
Of course.
good businesswoman never leaves home without her business
catalogue.
catalogue.
Oh,
Yeah.
How cool. I so got the orange set the other day.
Oh, sunburst.
Love it.
Very nice. Well, there's now a new red and white, but anyway, that's a whole other story.
Okay, so just make sure we get the catalogue.
Before you go.
Right. So that's how I met Karen. Kim, that's how I met Kimmy, and then I just loved her philosophies and tried all her beautiful products. And Cindy. Now that's a story.
Yeah, that is a story. And I actually think you should tell that story from your side.
Right, well, my side is this. I actually said this last night with our other friend, and she was thinking it was very funny. So, I did have 25 years ago two children, and I started Mon's playgroup with my eldest son, who's now 23, and he was maybe 18 months.
And he is a spunk.
Yes, he's in Spain at the
I have
moment.
to
Oh, he's
tell
actually in
you.
Croatia.
Oh my gosh, he's gorgeous.
I'll show you a photo, girls, before the end
We
of the
will.
segment, so you can give him a rating.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is he short?
No,
No,
he's
he's
very
gorgeous.
hot. Okay, so that's Travis. So Travis Ledger, born 1990, and I went off to Mon's playgroup with Travis and Kelsey, and I met this lady there who I thought was lovely. I thought she was a bit weird. I thought she was a bit of a hippie, and I was Miss Western and Miss Oshkosh, and and then we had Miss Cindy, and I thought, I just like her. Anyway, so
She
she
does
had
have
all-
hairy armpits,
Yes,
but
no,
I
she
like her.
actually didn't. But she just still was. I thought she was quite hippie, and she had, the all homemade stuff with the kids at Mons, and I still had, the packet of, I don't know, well, I could pick up and still have my hair blow dried and my bling on and still look neat, and my kids look perfect, but I didn't have time to bake. So we're at Mons playgroup doing what we do.
love it.
High maintenance always.
I love it. I love
But I
it.
always have maintained myself because us girls can make our own money. We're independent, sassy chicks. So, hence we were at playgroup, mucking around, doing all the things, and we just generated this beautiful friendship. I always had vaccination. A bit of a non-understanding of Cindy's philosophies non-immunisation. I was very much for immunisation. So I had a big fear thing going on about even my children mixing with Cindy's children because they weren't immunised. They're beautiful, gorgeous children, as she is, but that was my ignorance at that point.
Fear. It was a fear, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It was
And
a
I think
fear
it
because
speaks to the fear that most mums
Most
even have
mums have.
today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I was very much a Western medicine girl and really thought anyone who wasn't was so-called hippie. So anyway, our friendship developed and we went on and, I would just wash us down after things. And
Don't you love that she'd wash her down after she'd been with my kids?
And if they
Disinfect them.
if they'd cough or anything, I'd be like, oh, Jesus, oh, my God, I've got a bloody, my kids are going to get sick now, but I love her, so I just have to be friends with her anyway. And then I fell pregnant with my third child, and that was Regan Ledger. And when
was he born?
he was born in 1996.
96, was it?
Yep. And gorgeous, full of life, beautiful little boy. And I remember I gave birth to him, whatever day it was now, I can't remember. The next morning, Miss Cindy Sue was at the end of the bed. And she's like, I'm going to come and hold the baby. I was hot, breathless. I couldn't hold my breath. So I'm thinking, oh, my God, I don't want to be rude because I love her. But I wanted to say, can you wash your hands? Have the kids have their immunisation? Are any of them coughing? Oh, my God, I've got a
She
newborn.
was
Please
freaking
don't. And I was so over the top with care and, I don't know how I didn't end up with Looney Bin. Anyway.
But what was interesting is that as I approached Regan, because I love babies, Cathy stepped in between me and Regan, and that was probably a really good thing to do because then I got I got the message. I hadn't picked up on any other messages that she was upset with me touching the baby or anything like that, because I didn't think of things like that. You know, I knew that we were healthy, and I knew that, you know, germs are good, and, you know, that was my philosophy. But when you stepped in front of me, I got it, and I was happy to just sit back and just have a chat then. But I remember that very, very well. You were...
Mother.
She just stepped... And, you know, she was being the lioness. That's what she was being, and that's what you do. When you're a lioness and you're in fear for your baby's life, you step in front of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't remember doing that, but because we've had so many conversations in the last 17 years about it, yeah, I know that. So, yeah, we just went along our merry way, and I believed what I believed, and Cindy believed what she believed, and we still had a fabulous friendship, and our children played, and we had a great time. And then on the 20th...
Always washed after they played.
Always.
Antiseptic wash.
Always. And I think even then she gave me the look about thinking what I was putting, what was in those antiseptic wipes that we were wiping, but we still loved each other. So it's great to have friendships. You can have different beliefs, but you still have respect and love, and so that's okay. But one of my learnings, I so believe, like, to be put on this planet, was to go through the things that we went through, and for us to be connected as friends. Because when Regan was 15 months old, just before that, there was, and this is media, which is interesting, because I know you girls talk about that, but it was, a Saturday morning on the Sunshine Coast. I opened the Sunshine Coast Daily, and in big, bold letters it said, measles outbreak, fear. So I'm reading this and I'm like, oh my God, Regan's 15 months old and he hasn't had his 12-month-old vaccination. God, oh my God, I'm so naughty, you know. So I rang the doctors first thing Monday morning, booked him in. Anyway, I just had this feeling, that feeling you get that you just think, oh my God, I'm not sitting right. I just don't know why, but I'm just not sitting right. I had this...
But didn't the other kids have chicken pox?
No, not yet.
Didn't. Not yet, okay.
So anyway, I went off Monday morning and, so you have to get an idea. He's, very robust, wasn't he?
Very
solid, happy, full of life little boy. To have this house turned upside down and all the books off the shelf, nothing. And we had his vaccination, everything normal. It was the school holidays, the September school holidays, September 21. Next day I thought, oh my God, I've got to sleep in. This is so cool. He hasn't woken up. So Travis is 6 and Kelsey's 3 and they're running around the house and everything's normal. So I kept checking. It's not waking up. God, it's like 8:30. God, he says, that's weird. Anyway, so then obviously I walked in and he had died during the night. And
oh my God.
He was told it was, well, I had no idea what it was. So I was just screaming and running around the house and calling ambulances and calling my husband to come home from work because he was gone. And, it was just all hell broke loose. And that was the beginning of my education on drug companies, propaganda, doctors. And
so had he been vaccinated the day before?
Yeah, 12 hours or 13 hours before, because it was that afternoon and then the next morning he was gone.
And he died during the night?
Because he was, he'd been gone a while when I found him. So then, you go through the whole, the police come and treat you like a criminal. Yeah. Excuse me, a criminal.
Coroner.
Coroners and, you're up in their boss. It's just... I don't know. I would never wish that anyone ever lived through it. So, so one day, as you know, your life's completely normal and one day it's hell. So then it was pretty much me. I just had this gut feeling it was a vaccination. I always knew it was. On Regan's death certificate, it was actually pronounced it was SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. But sudden infant death syndrome is unexplained death because they don't want to put on there and scare everybody about vaccination. I never had for one doubt in my mind the minute I found him that it was not that vaccination. It was my truth. It always has been my truth. Always will be my truth. And I, tried to do lots of things with the help of Cindy. I found out lots and lots of information. We had Vera trying to come out. I went to the doctors the next day. The GP was called down, to pronounce everything. And I remember screaming at him saying it was the vaccination, wasn't it? And he just couldn't look at me, wouldn't take any of my phone calls from that day. Cindy and I, remember?
Wow.
No, he wouldn't.
He just, everyone, the Sunshine Coast went, because I was a fairly... well-known mum and business girl on the coast. So, obviously the word just spread. And I think it created an awful lot of fear for a lot of mothers that could be me. That could have been me so easily. So it was a massive journey. And through that, for maybe a few years I did the why me, God, this is so crap, I was such a good mother and how could this happen to me? But I think all the things that sometimes happen to us mould us, definitely, because if we don't have these yucky things, we're not who we are at the end. So it's been a great journey in the end, because I've learnt an awful lot about myself, an awful lot about drug companies, an awful lot about vaccination. I just follow my own truth now. I'm not told what I should think and I just spoke last week at a school in Tasmania to girls about all different things on vaccinations, and it was about the cervical
the
drug,
HPV, yeah.
And if all I ever do is make people question, because my job is not to say do not vaccinate, but from my experience, I would just like to get people to question what they're doing and not feel railroaded by Western medicine and what you should and shouldn't do and be made feel so guilty if you don't, because it really, really, really is Russian roulette. I just don't know that, because we're taught so much that you need to do it, you need to do it, you need to do it. We all do it because we're sheep, and it was like so many topics that you probably talked about. If you don't know, you don't know. And so I really had to, get over my own guilt with that. Why did I do that? I had a bad feeling about that morning. Why did I do it? I'm his mother. I was meant to keep him safe. All those emotions.
Cathy, what did it do for you in relation to Cindy after that? Like, how did you
she's the first person I wanted to speak to, because I was so sorry for what I'd thought of her. I never thought of her awfully. I just didn't believe in her beliefs, and I probably actually thought that mothers, were irresponsible for not immunising their children. And so then I thought, well done to you for having enough guts to go against the grain, to go against what most people say you should do.
But what I find interesting, Cathy, is that, you got pregnant soon after Regan died, and you rang me and you said, you know something, and I need to know it because I'm not going through this again. It just wow. resonates in my head. So I said, right. So that's when we got a speaker up, and you got 100. Kathy got 175 people. It was about that many.
Yeah, really.
At the RSL, wasn't it?
Yeah.
175 people to come and listen to this speaker who was a medical researcher for vaccines and realised that SIDS was being created as a result of some of the chemicals. So she then reversed completely. She was for vaccines, and then she went the other way. And so we got her up, and Cathy got all the information she needed, so that when her next baby was born, it was very different, wasn't it?
Oh, extremely different. And, and the other people who I'd like, Mark Postles, chiropractor on the Sunshine Coast, was divine. I love that man. And it was, one thing that really resonated with me, my paediatrician, when I had Zach. So I fell pregnant that week, which is bizarre. I don't even remember having intercourse, to tell you the truth. And I think I did it. It was like a can I feel anything moment, like clinging to each other to try to get through the grief. It was once. And I fell pregnant. And my obstetrician said, this is a gift from God, this baby in you, because to get pregnant within 6 days of the death of your baby, with your body should be in lockdown and shock and all these other things, is like and I didn't really want, I really wasn't up for another baby. Anyway, I think it definitely saved me because it gave me something positive to focus on. And I spoke to my paediatrician then. I said, can you, because he said, what are we going to do this time? And I said, this was the cruncher, can you promise me if you vaccinate my next child that nothing would happen? Are you that sure as a medical doctor that you can say there is no link to what happened to me? And he said, no, Cathy, I can't.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I said, well, I can't risk this ever again because this nearly put me in the loony bin. So I changed my whole thought process. everything in our life changed. You know, no medicines of any type. You know, Panadols where you're dehydrated, have water. All sorts of different things were just changed from that moment. So I think it's definitely education. It's just education and knowing, and it's ignorance, and I certainly, you know, was one of them. But I think what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, definitely. And it was, for some reason, my journey. And, you know.
And the difference between your children with regards to their health, I think that's really significant.
I'm interested to hear about that. Like, what's the difference? It's Zach?
Well, it's interesting, and because I've skipped a bit there, but when after Regan died, I was like 5 days or something after that. It was, I can't remember the exact days, but it was pretty close. Travis, who was 6, Kelsey was 3, came out in chickenpox. So I believe for myself what happened. Regan also was probably had an underlying, was going to come down with chickenpox. Then his little body had this needle injection of 3 other diseases, and it was too much for his little immune system, which killed him. So, you know, that's the problem. You don't know when one of your children is going to get something when they present completely healthy. So that's why I call it Russian roulette. You just don't know. And now I know how the body works and how amazing our bodies are and how we are meant to get these diseases that we all had as children. And look at us all sitting here, I have to say, mid-40s, looking freaking sensational. So, you know, I do think that we are putting so many foreign things into our bodies and we are getting so many different diseases in young people. It's frightening. And now I can look at Travis and Kelsey and I look at Zach, and Travis is actually fine, I have to say. His immune system, he is good. But that's, again, you don't know what body's going to work with it and what body isn't.
Yeah.
Kelsey, when she was 12 months old and she had her 12-month vaccination, she ended up in Royal Sydney and no one knew why. Massive temperatures, convulsing, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, we nearly lost her a couple of times, so it didn't resonate with me that it would have been vaccination. And the day we were booking out of hospital, that she was finally, we got the temperatures under control, she came out in this rash all over her body. And the doctor, it was measles. And since... I said, but she's been vaccinated against measles. How can it be measles? Oh, well, you know, sometimes. Oh, yeah, right. So sometimes Western medicine doesn't work. Oh, my God, that's a shock. So, you know,
Wow.
And then I found out that what she had was atypical measles, which is an immune disorder because she'd already been injected with the disease, and then her little body had to fight it again. Her immune system has never really been great. She's 20 and fabulous and gorgeous, but always goes down like a ton of bricks. If you're sitting here with a vomit bug, Kelsey will get it. If you're sitting here with a cough, Kelsey will get it. Do you know, she's just always been a weaker little body. Whereas Zach, I would count, he maybe has had 1 vomit bug in his life. I've had so many times over the years the schools ring me and say, because it's fear, oh my God, you have to come and get Zach. There's an outbreak of... And I say, fantastic, throw him in with all those kids because he needs that disease. It helps build his immune system. They think I'm the biggest freak, but every time...
No, you're the biggest freak.
I took your title. I love it.
She needed the better Nova.
I had the
Nova. I'm sure I have that name well and truly covered. But he has still never got anything. So to this day, he's going on 16 and 6'1" and sprightly and fabulous and saved my life. Love him to death. But he doesn't get, if he gets a cold, it's a tiny sniffle. He doesn't get a vomit. He's never had measles, mumps, chickenpox. Like, I wouldn't care if he got
any of those?
Never had one thing.
Even though you throw him into
I
the gauntlet?
throw him in every situation because I want him to get them while he's younger. I think if his body should get diseases and learn to fight them, but I just can't make him catch them, so I don't know.
But you know what, Cathy, is that I never had measles, but when I got pregnant I had a blood test, and on the blood test it said obviously vaccinated
antibodies
against measles.
Yeah, right.
So he may have the antibodies but not have gotten the disease.
Yeah.
And everybody doesn't realise that people can get antibodies without having the disease. So I've never had malaria, but I can't give blood anymore because I have the parasite from malaria. Or well, it's not the parasite anymore. I've got, and they call it the antibody, but it's a parasite, so I don't know how it can be an antibody. But anyway, they called it that on the piece of paper they gave me.
Right.
But I've never had malaria. So he may have been exposed to these, and it'd be worth just having a blood test just to see. It'd be really interesting, actually.
Well, he won't go near anything with it. And even about 5 or 6 weeks ago at school in Tasmania, I've never heard of this vaccination, but it's a sexually transmitted disease vaccination.
Oh, for the boys?
For boys.
It's HPV. It's exactly the same one as they're giving the girls.
Well, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't send letters about it, didn't know anything about it. Next minute, I get a phone call from the school that they're vaccinating it, and Zach goes to a private school in Tassie. And it's him going, Mum, you need to speak to them because they're telling me to line up. And I said, there's no way you are injecting me in anything. And they're like, well, your mother hasn't filled it. And I said, well, I have. So, and hence, I went through this big la-la, and he, of course, was taken out of that line. There was no way in hell they were going to inject him with anything. But I was so proud of him as a 15-year-old.
Bless him for calling you and saying, Mum.
Yeah, like he's like, no way, because he's lived me with passion, against doctors. I've had, even that night with Cindy, we asked all these doctors to come and speak. They said they would, and the night of the forum at that RSL, not one turned up.
And the doctor that vaccinated Regan, I called him because he wouldn't take your phone number calls. So I called him and I said who I was, and I said, I'm a really good friend of Cathy Ledger's, and she would really like you to come to this talk by Dr. Vera Schreibner at the RSL. Would you be available? And immediately he said, you can't prove the vaccine killed Regan. I said, I didn't say that. I just want you to come and hear another side, that's all. And he didn't come, did he?
No.
He didn't come.
And we had 3 lined up that night, and they were coming, and then they didn't even have enough decency, which I thought was really sad, to even inform us that they weren't coming. But, it's interesting because of just what we're told through our thought processes. And after that day, 3 weeks ago at school, Zach, all the kids started, giving him grief, saying, "Oh my God, you're a weirdo. You're going to get us all sick." And he.
But it's a sexually transmitted disease injection.
Yes. And because he said, I have never been vaccinated. And so they said, right, so you're going to give us... And Zach, one of the teachers who is lovely, rings me and she goes, you would have been so proud of your son. He stood up and he said, fear and non-information is a terrible thing.
Oh, good on.
So when all of you research what you've actually injected into your own bodies, get back to me. And until then... keep your opinions to yourself. Because for me, that's my truth. Love that. And when he came home... Yeah. I was like, good on you, Zach. And he's like, yeah, because, I know, Mum.
And do you know that this vaccine, Australia is the testing ground? 360,000 boys will be vaccinated as a test for this drug.
See,
we are the testing ground. Yeah, we're the testing ground for the HPV. It's just...
frightening.
It is frightening. Very frightening.
Do you think... this is a bit rabbit hole-ish.
That's okay, darling.
So I'm just,
rabbit hole me away.
That's because I'm sitting quite close to the rabbit hole queen.
Right.
Do you think when you were pregnant with Zach, your thoughts, your intention around his birth and all the things you would have learnt during that time, is there a possibility that with those thoughts, that intention, that was also a contributor to his amazing immune system and preparing him for what this world was going to be for him? Do you think, were you, my question to you probably is, were you positive while you were pregnant with him? I can't imagine dealing with such grief.
I wouldn't say I was positive, I was scared. I was really scared because I thought, oh my God, how am I actually going to do it? And it took me, I think, 3 times of leaving hospital when I was meant to leave that I just melted down and said, I can't go home. Because I was like, I can't take this baby home. I can't do this again, So, positive, probably not. More worldly, more information, yes, but still drawn. Because the ex-husband, what do I call it? Ex-husband, at that point...
The father of your 3 children.
Yeah, said 4. Something to me which really did upset me. He said, let it be on your head, this decision.
Oh, jeez.
So to me, it was like, shivers. You know, this needs, you know, if I'm making the wrong decision here, I'm costing someone else their life. So
That's unbearable.
So I was like, oh my God. So positive, no.
You hadn't got to lioness stage, or you weren't back at being a lioness.
No, but, you know, it's a really weird time in my life. I actually don't remember bits of it because I think I was on survival mode, and Zach slept on my chest for the first year, didn't put him in a cot. And for the next 2 years, he slept in our bed between us. So he never went into his own bed, which was a nightmare trying to get a 4-year-old out of our bed. But, you know, you do what you have to do to get through what you have to get through, you know.
Do you know, there's something really powerful that you've just said there, and I don't even know if you've realised it. But when you went through what you went through, the normal you that's sitting here today is not the you that was there at that time.
No, God, no.
And that part of ourselves, we've all got it. That part of ourselves that is almost, it's almost, oh gosh, and how do I even say this without going down a rabbit hole? It's almost as if the normal us, the day-to-day us, gets out of the way, and then there's a part of us that's connected to a far greater resource. There's a part of us that knows stuff, that acts innately, and it's that part of you that becomes present. So when you made the decision that you weren't going to get vaccinated, and you made the decision that he would sleep on your chest, and you made the decision that he would sleep on the bed, God help, I could just imagine it, God help anybody who actually tried to take that away.
Oh, yeah.
Because innately you knew
What you needed to do.
exactly what was necessary for your own self-preservation and for the preservation of your child. You knew. And there's a part of us that is always connected to our highest intelligence. And that's the part that breathes you, beats your heart, blinks your eyes, bakes a baby and blooms a rose. That part of you is always connected to the higher intelligence. But the tragedy that we have is that in those moments, that's who we become. In those moments, we are connected to our highest intelligence. But it doesn't last forever. We'll end up getting distracted with day-to-day life again. We'll end up getting back to normal again. And then we get caught up in the distraction of life again, and we're not functioning out of that innate part of us that's always connected to a higher resource.
Yeah.
So it's in that time, actually, that you were probably your most lucid, your most clear, your most collected, your most informed, even though you don't know where the answers were coming from, and even though you don't know where your power came from or your inner strength came from. You may not know where it came from, but it came from somewhere. And it came from the greatest part of yourself that's connected to that innate intelligence.
I think that it is so true what you said in sometimes in understandings, because that was, which is maybe a little bit off what you, but a little bit, I think, connected to what you said as well, because for some reason I had a massive fear of God death before this happened, and I always wonder. So another fear that came to me was, oh my God, did I make this happen? Oh my God, was this a fear? Did I manifest a fear? Because I remember...
No, you just knew it was coming.
I just knew. I knew. I used to come... When I came home...
She was amazing with Regan.
I was with Travis, who is my firstborn, Kelsey's second. I remember, and Mum and I have had this conversation, I'd be sitting there holding them as newborns on the couch, you know, come out of hospital and you just love them. You just want to smell them, kiss them, squeeze them, couple them down. And Mum said, I remember tears just streaming down your face, and I'd look at you and go, what's the matter? And I forgot, but when she said it, I sort of remembered, and I'd go, oh my God, I'm so scared something's going to happen. I just have this fear. Shit, why won't this fear go away? And when they won or something, then I would lose that fear. But in one way, I think, is that every mother's fear? No. Is it that I do have exactly what you said? Because I get these sixth senses just like the day the vaccination happened. And I think as women, we really need to listen to our own self, because we ourselves, we know, don't we? So,
and I reckon with Regan, you were far more protective. I don't know. I didn't see you, with your first two, but I used to watch you with Regan. You were very protective of him and always worried about him and concerned about him. Maybe you did have some intuition and what,
honey.
What?
She was
She did.
totally worried about him when you noticed it because you were there.
Because you're my
It was me that was the problem.
That's right.
Oh, and I'm sure that I'll be blamed for the death of your child because I didn't vaccinate and they were exposed to me.
Well, that's where some people will
Some
go
people
with
will
it.
go there.
Oh,
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
some people
Oh
will go
my
there.
God, that's so ridiculous.
Kathy, do you know, I chose vaccination for my children because I didn't know any better.
Absolutely.
I was very scared about it, so they got them a lot later than
Yeah.
what they should have had them, and even that made me feel scared, the way the doctors would say, my gosh, you better get her and him vaccinated, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. And I kept thinking, their little body, how can you inject a 6-week-old baby? Like,
Or now even newborn, when
Oh,
they try to
really?
give them the vitamin K
oh, yeah,
at
yeah.
birth.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they give them K and then they give them Hep B within 24 hours.
Because a newborn needs Hep B.
Yeah, because they're going to have
Because they're
sexually
going to,
transmitted disease.
have a problem, yeah.
So
bad,
But what
hey?
I'm saying is, we chose then from there on, like when meningitis vaccinations came along, and
Yeah.
I was becoming more and more educated, and just decided I did not want to do this anymore. So my children were one of very few that weren't weren't vaccinated at school. Just recently, they've had the HPV virus and vaccination at school, and Taylor is one of 4 girls out of, I would imagine there's 200 girls in her year. She was one of 4 that didn't have it. So there's still a massive fear.
There is, because it's non-education, and because, you know what I think it is? I really believe that society, general society, makes parents, mothers especially, feel like you're doing an injustice to your child to not get them vaccinated.
And the community.
Yes.
You are
and
almost
absolutely. And the other day on Sunrise, which I've actually sent an email to, and I'm
got a
waiting.
phone call.
Oh my God, I was so angry. And I've emailed them and emailed them and emailed them, and I'm not actually going to go away, Sunrise. So I'm
This is
going
our
to keep.
morning. This is a morning nationwide TV show.
Just in
Yes.
case anybody from Sunrise is listening, she's
Yes.
not going
I'm
anywhere.
not going Cathy Ledger, give me a call. Because, the world has to hear 2 sides. We can't, that's scary that we can be dominated by a government and have no voice. I think that's so scary. And in New South Wales, they came on and said that there's a new law coming in, and there was, the panel of the 3 women who get up there.
Yeah.
The 3 of them, not one of them had any...
Around pro-choice.
No. And they said, hey, it's so exciting that in New South Wales, as of January, no jab, no play. So that is the beginning of this tactic around Australia, which scares the hell out of me.
Did you hear, because we just went through a federal election, and the guy who was contending, Kevin Rudd, he had a policy that he said if he was elected as president, Prime Minister, that any child who wasn't vaccinated, their parents would lose the family allowance.
And that's what they tried to say to me as well, Karen, which is real. And a lot of people do believe that's true. Maybe that would have been if he was elected. But until then, they'd still like people to think that. But it's actually false. I had to do a letter to say I was a conscientious objector, and therefore I had an Australian right to my own choice.
Yeah.
So then they couldn't do all that. But I had to go through that process. But a lot of people actually don't know that the process is, at the moment in Australia, that they cannot change any Centrelink payment of any type.
Right.
And maybe this is about to change, but that makes me more passionate about, we need to start speaking about it. We need to challenge doctors. We need to challenge, why there's so many more rates of all the things that are happening. ADHD, autism, diabetes, it just goes on and on and on. And the money that drug companies are making, it's just, I think once we start the drug in the beginning of this newborn, it sets up a life of drug taking and need, because then when does it stop? Well, it begins with just giving that baby vaccination. So you need to give that baby some Panadol now to control the fever. So boom.
And then the
Drug 1.
The vaccinations usually have antibiotics in
Yeah.
them.
So it just makes this little perfect body that is made all by a greater good, and we start doing things with it. I don't think it should, there should be the choice. People can do it if they want. That's the beauty of choice, isn't it? But to have that choice taken away, and for people to be then told no jab, no play, which in New South Wales, as of January, is in, That's scary.
So what does that mean, no jab, no play? Forgive
So
my
they
ignorance.
can't, if they don't have a needle, if they're not vaccinated, they can't get into daycare centres, they can't get into public things that are run, preschools, kindergartens, daycare centres.
Well, what's supposed to happen to the kid? They get
That's your
homeschooled?
problem because you've chosen not to vaccinate.
So
you've lost your whole right as a parent to mix in normal society due to the fact that if you don't jab, you don't play. And I think that is scary because that's one state. Where does it end? Well, who's the next state to jump on board?
Wow.
I just kind of want to put something in perspective
they
here.
can't take choice away.
I know, but that's
It's not a democratic society then, is it?
It
It's
is.
just ridiculous. It's about whether I choose to eat Kellogg's
Yeah.
cornflakes versus eating, what,
an egg.
Yeah,
Organic.
there you go, an egg, organic
Yes.
egg. That's what it is like to me.
or lettuce.
But I want to put this in perspective because we are pro-choice. We're not about anti-vaccination.
No,
and
it's
not
just
at
the
all.
choice.
We just want the choice. And I look at people who don't live healthy lives, that they eat the wrong foods, they're not interested in improving their health, they go with the flow, they take the vaccination because they don't know any better. I kind of look at them and I go, well, that's your choice. But I'm a parent, and so's Cathy, who's made the decision that we will feed our children the best that we can. We breastfed them. We try, do the natural birth. We have done everything we possibly can so that these children's immune system is strong. And to then turn around and tell us that we have to put an injection into our children that has preservatives in it, has adjuncts in it that have aluminium, the preservative is mercury, that it has an antibiotic in it. My children have never had an antibiotic, They've got a gut that's as strong as anything because they haven't lost their bacteria from the antibiotic. So, they cannot guarantee us that if we do vaccinate that our children will be perfectly healthy and there'll be no ramification. They cannot guarantee that.
No.
And me as a parent who has made the decision to do the best I can for my children, I have the right to say, I'm sorry guys, but I'm not vaccinating my children. But I would like them to play with other children because I don't have a problem with your children being vaccinated and having atypical measles, as, did Kelsey have after she was vaccinated. And now there's a measles outbreak. Note, the measles outbreak in Queensland at the moment, not one is a non-vaccinated child that is the measles outbreak. They're all vaccinated children because if it was a non-vaccinated child, we'd know about it.
We
would know.
It would
so
be
my
headlines.
assumption is that every child that has measles at the moment has been vaccinated.
Yeah, I agree.
And this whole herd immunity thing, that's what it's about, is this whole herd immunity thing. So it's parent against parent now, not doctor against parent. This is parent pitching against parent. So parents have this thing about herd immunity, but they've heard it. They've gone, well, you're just off our back. But herd immunity has nothing to do with vaccination. Herd immunity is a terminology that was created back in the 1930s or 40s, I can't remember the exact date, where natural immunity, as long as 68% of people, I think it was 68% of people, had natural immunity against measles or mumps or polio or something like that, then everybody was protected. That's where it came from. It did never come from.
Because that's where some people who... I don't think the people listening to this will be feeling anything other than what we're all feeling and thinking, but they'll have people around them that will say, well, it's thanks to vaccinations that we don't have polio anymore.
Yes, that we wiped out all these old diseases. And that is a very, very common conversational backflash. Well, tell me how come we don't have the Black Plague. Yeah, tell me how come we don't have polio. Tell me how come. So,
and the reason, we don't have polio is that if you have a look back in statistics, so let's just say, we've got a table, and on that table it starts in, I don't know, I can't tell you the exact ones, but let's just say it starts at 1920 with polio, and then you see polio may have been at the top of the axis and it starts to drop down. But if we go back to 1886, we may see that it was high and it's dropped right down in the axis. And then it's only been a small drop from 1920 when the polio vaccine was taken in. So it's about cherry picking where we're going to put the date. And if people want, they can actually go and see these tables. I have them on my website. and you can go to Immunity, Why Not Keep It. It's a book, an e-book that I've got, and it actually shows you these tables, and it actually shows you back to the 1800s, not just 1920 or 1930. I can't remember when polio was introduced, and this was a book that was written by Dr. Lisa Lovett, who happens to be my sister. But she has actually shown you not the table from when polio vaccine started, but before. So when people say that to me, it's just another meme. It's another thing that they've heard. So what about polio? Or what about herd immunity? So when people are throwing this at you or throwing it at me, I just go, well, do you actually know what herd immunity means? Do you actually know where polio was in the 1880s? You know, so we are educated. And we're educated, we know, and that's why I chose not to vaccinate, is because of my education. I wasn't going to listen to propaganda. And the reason I was never vaccinated, and I'm 53, the reason I was never vaccinated is that my father was a pharmacist. And back in, I think, 1959...
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
Your
really,
father is a pharmacist and you're not
isn't that
not vaccinated. Like, that is such a statement in itself.
Well, 1959 in Bundaberg, 14 babies died as a result of vaccination. And I was born in 1960.
Wow.
So he looked at that and he went, oh, I'm not chancing that one, you know, so...
But why is it pro-vaccinators and particularly the fighters for pro-vaccination are so hell-bent on being very aggressive in their defence of what they do, and secondly, actually feel like pro-choicers are uneducated nutters that have got no idea. Why do they...
No, they think we're lazy.
Lazy.
Why would they say you're lazy?
Because we don't go and get our children vaccinated. And the fact that...
Or irresponsible.
We're irresponsible or we're lazy. And the fact that they've said no jab, no play and no money, I go, no play and no money is going to make me vaccinate any of my children. They don't get where we stand. If they're saying that, if you think that money's going to make a difference to me vaccinating and not vaccinating my children, you don't know where I am standing and what my feelings are.
Right.
And if you think that no play is going to make me vaccinate my children, you got another thing coming. I will homeschool my children. I will protect them.
Oh, you'll
But
find a
what
whole
happens to, you know, what I think with that, and thank God we work for ourselves and we have that choice. But what about those poor women out there, right, who have to go to work to keep their family afloat, who don't have the choice, who don't have family backup to mind the children? How is it fair, or how is it even just that those women, what do they do with their children when they have to go back to work, when they're not allowed to go into a normal centre? So if
a whole lot of pro-choices create daycare.
I just think that's a really, really unjust thing to be making women really forcing women to do this, because otherwise where do they put their children when they have to work?
But like you say, the money and the no play is
I was just about to say,
you could
join
ring
Intimo.
Cathy Ledger on 0403 129 and join
don't you
fabulous
think-
company. But that's not the point. It is freedom of choice and the country we live in.
Don't you think this will give them, like you say, it's not going to stop them playing, it's not going to stop you, money's not going to make you change your mind, but don't you think then it's going to make another whole new movement where people actually start to create things like daycares for people that are
Well, wouldn't that be great, Kim?
not vaccinated? And then,
Because that choice always, and as Australians and as women all over the world, I think we all have to stand up for that choice, because it's your choice to parent and mother
The way that
how
you believe is-
choose,
Absolutely.
whether it is for vaccination or not. And
I don't think that, I mean, and I'm not a mother, so I'll probably speak, ignorantly here, but for goodness sake, I don't think that any damn government has the right to determine the way that one human being lives their life and the way that a mother, because the mother knows better than any damn politician does, nobody has the right to say, you will do this. I just want to do the big F-bomb and fingers in the air and say, go screw it. Go jump off a bridge. Like, how dare anybody dictate and think that that's an acceptable behaviour?
Absolutely.
It's only going to be an acceptable behaviour.
if people sit and accept it.
Correct.
Yes. And I will never sit and accept it. And that's why I'm a bit frustrated with Sunrise, because I've emailed them.
But you know what?
I'm getting no response.
But
because
know
Didn't you
why?
tell me?
Probably hard
you
work.
won't, and you won't.
Yeah.
You will not get a response because the project blatantly. And the project, for people who don't know, is a very different news program here in Australia that has 4 commentators, and there's a lot of comedy in there. They had a lady on who I don't like her tactics, but anyway, they had this lady on who basically was talking about, these non-vaccinators and how dangerous they are to the community, etc., etc. After they'd interviewed her, they said, and we have made it a policy on the project that we will never have anybody on here that is against vaccination.
Oh, wow.
So here's the media.
Wish I heard that.
That was on the project.
I
project.
never heard that.
But the role of a journalist is to get both
everybody
sides.
have an opinion.
And there are 2 sides. That's the issue. But it's like this medical doctor that I'm having a running issue with at the moment. I asked her, can you guarantee me 100% that the vaccinations that are given to our children are perfectly safe and there's not one issue with anything with children? Can you guarantee me that? She hasn't written back and guaranteed
That's
me
that
that.
same question I asked the paediatrician.
They can't.
And he was actually lovely. He's a medic on the Sunshine Coast, and he was divine and very caring. And he looked at me, I remember very clearly, took my hand and said, "No, Cathy, I cannot guarantee you that Zach would be fine." That's
enough. That's enough.
Isn't it? Really. So again, it should be your choice. It doesn't mean it should be stopped. It doesn't mean, we're not acting like, hippies here saying let's ban the bra, but God forbid. God, why would I even say ban the bra? Where on earth did that come from?
I don't know where that came from.
Good, I can tell you. So yeah, but it is all about choice.
Do you know, this was not going to be a conversation on vaccination. This was just about your story. And I really wanted to talk really about you, Cathy, because I've watched you grow. We've known each other forever, and I've just watched you grow so much, and your confidence, your business. You're just a mum at home, and you just went, I'm going to take life by the horns. I'm not going to lay down, and I'm not going to let anybody, tell me what I can do anymore. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to live life. And that's what I've watched you do since Regan. He really...
He did.
It hurt, but he gave you an amazing gift in more ways than...
Absolutely, yeah. True. Yeah. Definitely.
So, we were having a conversation. We were at the pub.
Having water.
At a tavern.
I was going to say, Cindy at a pub.
We were at a tavern last night.
On the
Cathy,
water.
Yeah, on the water. It was really nice. And Cathy does a lot of personal development with her. She has a huge network under you. Yeah. Heap of girls. No boys?
No boys. I did have 2 great gay guys come in and work under me in Sydney, but lots of women weren't comfortable with that, so that didn't work. But it was fun working with them. Yeah, but no, all girls.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of personal development with them, and I'm trying to think what we were talking about last night, what you were talking about with them. But it's.
I just think if you stop learning, you stop growing. And I started into my journey 15 years ago, and it was my other passion, and watching women and empowering other women. Do you know? And also, even though you do that, and I still get warm and fuzzy watching girls go through the ranks. I sort of see the reflection of me. I think it's. For me, I finished school in grade 10. I didn't have a university degree. I didn't have, any of the things that you're meant to have to be able to make the big bucks. And one of my other best friends in Intermo, who's Tracy Rudich, she said to me, you know that we're in the top 10% of earning women in the country? And I'm like, wow. No, really? Oh, that's exciting. But I never ever did it for that. But sometimes I go, oh my God, I am really proud of myself, because I'm just a mum who had 4 babies, started a business out of a little 3-bedroom shack, in Kawana, and, turned it into a, multi-million dollar business. And, nothing comes without hard work. but everything can happen if you're passionate. Anything, absolutely anything. And I've had a wow of a time, and I definitely have changed through the years, and through doing Stephen Covey programs and being exposed to great speakers, listening to beautiful stories like yours, Karen, and you sort of sit there and go, get up. Life gets hard and you get a bat round the head, but get up and make the most, because you get one life, and we should be so appreciative of the life we get. It's such a privilege to grow old, so you want to just keep going and making the best you can and never be average. And it was funny, my 20-year-old said to me, because I'm living in Tasmania at the moment, and I'm going home on Wednesday, and Kelsey said, God, Mum, when you leave, I need like 3 days on the couch because I'm exhausted. I look at you and your life, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. And I said, Kelsey, get up, girlfriend. You get one go at it, and you've got to make the most and the best of every day. And by the time you get into bed at night, go, yep, I did something great today. Was today great? Pretty much.
And there could have been 2 ways that you could have gone after Regan died.
Yeah.
And that would have been, you could have become depressed, gone on antidepressants, marked your life on what had happened. But instead what you did, and what I just adore about what you did, Cathy, is that you went the other way. You just went, right, I'm off, and I'm out there doing something, and I'm not going to let it define my life.
No.
Even though I think it changed you,
It did, yeah.
but it didn't define you in the end.
No, and you know what's really interesting? I remember sitting there, when I used to first walk into the school after Regan had died, I'd see all the mothers. We'd walk up the line and all the mothers would sort of move away from me. Oh. None of them wanted to come near me because they didn't know how to act with me. They didn't know. Yeah. And 2 of my best friends, so-called best friends, as you know, you went through the journey with me, completely dropped me, didn't want to know about me. And that was heartbreaking because I needed them more than anything. So I thought one day, Travis and Kelsey aren't going to be the siblings of the baby who died on the Sunshine Coast. It was just something that happened, but it wasn't going to define them. I wasn't going to be the poor mother. I wasn't going to be the needy, oh, poor you. And I do believe that he was here for a purpose. He made me stronger. Lots of awful things happened to, unfortunately, nearly all of us, and it is our choice, how we choose to make our life from that. And I think you really should see with every experience, I had 15 months of the most perfect, funny, happy, beautiful little boy. So what can't be sad about that. You can just...
He was gorgeous. He was so full of life. He was like this, almost the Michelin boy.
Yeah.
And he would just run up and down, and I just remember him running. That's all I remember
he never
him
stopped.
doing.
And I think he was here for, a quick time, not a long time, but a fast time. I do think that, you have to try to be strong, because lots of things in life don't quite go to plan, but it's it's our mental strength and our ability to turn not so nice things into great things. And I'm very lucky. I found Intimo, and I've developed a great business, and I have beautiful friends, and I do believe that you should do some personal development a couple of times a year, I believe, because I think as soon as you stop growing...
well, this is why we do this podcast. It's a weekly thing. It's on for an hour.
I think it's great.
And we always have a discussion about something.
Very serious discussions. We never laugh. We never lose the plot. We stay quite content, and we're actually very, very intellectual.
Who is she talking about?
It's really...
I don't actually know.
Who is that girl? Who was that?
I'm usually the funny one, but I've been so serious today. Because it was sort of a bit of a serious topic. So if you ever want me to come back and talk about boobs and bums and have a much lighter, or masturbation.
Well, how about the topic just as before we started recording?
Oh, yes.
Masturbation.
No, that was last week.
Oh, it was last week.
That was last week.
Karen has been known to say on this podcast she does not put anything in her mouth that she can't chew or swallow. Kathy really actually is quite keen to do a podcast to show us all how to get a 3.1 carat diamond ring.
That will take longer than an hour, girlfriend.
Oh, for goodness sake, it's going to take longer than an hour. Forget about it.
Do you know what? Not the process, the lesson, Karen. The lesson.
Forget about it.
We could do an R-rated one. Why not?
Okay, listeners.
I think that would be great
Why
because
don't we
we
do
can
an
all
R-rated
share
one?
our experience.
Because we'll just put explicit on it.
Okay, I think it's time to end.
Karen, I think she's excited. She doesn't want to end it all. She is like going, yes.
Karen acts like a prude.
But she's not.
She's
a
probably one of
wild
those
woman.
wild things in the
Yeah.
bedroom.
She has mirrors on the ceiling. I've been to her house.
Yeah, I know. And when she talks about,
Kathy, that was a lie.
and when she talks about those fluffy white little things, slippers and things.
Yeah.
We know what else
I
is
know what
fluffy.
else is fun.
Stop it.
Yes, I think that is a great idea because there's so many women out there we need to help
Who
with
don't
being
know how to spit
comfortable
or
with
swallow.
sexuality.
I actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm very comfortable with it.
I'm actually with you guys.
Yeah.
I actually think we should do.
You want to do an R-rated number?
I don't see
Let's
why
see
not.
if the listeners want it.
Tasteful.
Okay, here we go.
That's a
here we
great
go.
idea.
Here we go. So we do have to bring this podcast to a close because we've had just such a fabulous time with Miss Cathy. But here's the thing: if you guys want to talk about all things boobs, bums, balls, and
Whatever.
banging,
Penises.
Get me back.
let's get Cathy back. Let's get Cathy back. She can give us all lessons.
Well, we could do the podcast from Tasmania.
Oh, and we are going to Tasmania, aren't we?
We're going to the food festival, definitely.
We're going to the food festival in Tasmania and staying
Cathy's
at Cathy's
wedding.
place. And Cathy's wedding. Hello, bring it on. So if you guys want to hear an R-rated, explicit podcast where we talk about all things off limits,
And we will make sure that we mark that explicit on the podcast. It will be something that's clearly printed that it is an explicit and it's an R-rated one.
And so for those of you mums who listen with your daughters while you're cleaning your house or doing your cooking, that won't be one to listen to with your kids.
Although your daughter might want to
Great one to listen to with your husband, though, because I think sharing and being open
Is caring.
Is caring on a whole new level.
So we want to hear from you on our Facebook page. So go to our Facebook page and all you have to do, you don't have to get explicit, you can just write a yip or a nup. There we go. That lets everybody off the hook. So go to our Facebook page, allthews.facebook.com/up for a chat. Or you can also post your comments on the Wellness Couch /up for a chat as well. So Cathy, it's been such a treat to share this podcast with you. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us for an hour. It's been absolutely wonderful. We just love you to absolute pieces.
I love you too.
You are a beautiful, beautiful soul, and there's such a powerful reason why you've experienced the things that you've experienced, and you will change the world and create a ripple effect every day that you're alive and breathing. So, there's a lot to be grateful for, and I'm certainly grateful for having you in my life, and I know that these two tarts are too.
Thank you,
Our
girls.
boobs have never looked better.
You are looking very pretty, but just bring them over here.
All right, you guys, hope you've enjoyed this podcast, and we hope you've enjoyed meeting one of our very, very dear and very special friends, Cathy Ledger. That's Cathy with a C, Ledger with an L, into Mo. Now join us here next week on Up for a Chat and be part of the ripple effect that's changing the world. We'll see you on the ride.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/TheWellnessCouch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives. Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.